Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hit the Bid here on July 5th. This is Ty Robbie here with your Week 27 Market Watch. Today we're going to run through our charts and see what happened in these markets over the last week and see what we need to be ready for as we head into Week 27. So let's jump in and get started. First on the board today, we got our August live cattle. We did see steady selling pressure here in this cattle market all week last week, both live and feeder prices losing some ground. This August live contract did open up here with some early breakdowns below 245 half, which was last week's bear pivot. Early breakdowns here right through our averages. We did see middle part of the week, Tuesday and Wednesday's action looking like we were trying to balance out here right around that 50-day average in the low 240s. And then it turned into a Thursday session where we finally did spill back down here below these pair day lows and finished the week down there just right around 239. Steady selling pressure all week long with that poor finish we saw to the week on Thursday before the long holiday weekend. Just saw a little bit too much weakness here on increasing volume. Wouldn't be surprised to see some follow through selling below 239 to start off the week. Look for this market to probe down here into the mid 230s. Back here in the early part of June, we did see this market balancing out here at this long-term support line, which is this 200-day moving average. We'll have to wait and see if we can find some support there, but we did see some pretty wide ranges here as we bounced out between about 235 and 237. Lots of action back and forth here, some big wide range days, a little bit of an increased volatility. However, we aren't really expecting a whole lot of major downside. We should see this market try and find some support here in the mid 230s once again. I'd steer clear of this market here to start off the week. Let this thing kind of find its footing before getting involved, as we could see some of that selling pressure follow through early into next week. So be cautious of that. We want to slow play this thing, be patient here, make sure this market's able to find its footing before we get back on board to the long side. At the moment, this market has just kind of been stuck in this price point between about 250 and 235, dating back to the early part of April here. This market just kind of trading range bound here in the recent months, showing that this market is just needing to consolidate and is being pretty comfortable up here around 250 to 235. We should see these prices stick around. Not expecting any downtrends from here. We should see the bottom end of this range find some support and just keep bouncing this thing back around here around that 235 to 250 range. We'll just have to continue to monitor this situation throughout the week. We want to make sure that this market is able to stabilize down here in the 230s, and if we're able to find that support like we anticipate, we should see those bulls try and take another run back up here towards these range highs. Next up here, the August feeders on the board. This market also losing some ground. We did see a nice run up there to 377.5 here in the recent weeks. This market did lose some ground though, as we did see steady selling pressure all week long. This market pulling back right here into our averages before kind of balancing out midweek. Bulls tried to put up a fight here around this 20-day moving average, but then Thursday session we saw this market break down and get a close below that 50. Wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of follow through selling pressure here to start off the week like that live cattle market. Probes of this 360.30 level, which was last week's low, should see this thing kind of poke down here into the mid 350s. We should see the bulls step in and try and offer some support here in the week ahead. This feeder market has seen a pretty impressive rally here since that yearly low put in back here on June 4th up to 377. Testing the midpoint of this rally here is a good spot to be finding support, so we should see those bulls step in here as we probe down into the 350s. But just slow play this thing, be patient here. We should see this market stabilize in the week ahead, but we don't need to be jumping in front of this thing while we got some of these big red days here over last week. We could see some of that continue early. Wait for this market to balance out. We want to see some tighter range days, see this market stabilize a little bit and offer some better buy points for the bulls out there before we take another run back up here towards the top end of this range or the mid 370s here. So look for both live and feeder markets to try and gather some support here in the week ahead. No need to be jumping out in front of things here to start off the week. Let's just be patient here, let this market stabilize, and it should be offering some good buy points here before the week is up, and see if this cattle market can keep finding some support here. Next up, December corn futures on the board. We did see this market put in some new contract lows early last week at 4.25. We did see a nice little rally though back up into this 20-day moving average. Thursday session we did see a little bit of resistance there off of the 20, but so far we are seeing in the evening session tonight get a nice little poke above that 446 bull pivot. Look for this market to run into some resistance here around $4.50. We got plenty of overhead sellers here, lots of supply that this market's going to need to chew through, so we're not going to see much upside here in this market throughout the week ahead. We should see this thing, or we should see rallies be sold into here over the next couple days. Look for this corn market to run into some resistance here in the 450s and eventually turn south once again and start pushing back down there towards the low $4 range. Crude oil prices continuing to balance out down here near $70. Last week we did see this market just kind of slowly bleeding down there and probing that $70 mark for the first time in quite a while. This market is just kind of balancing out here around 66 half to $70. Pretty nice spot to find support that caused this breakout back here in late February, early March. Look for this thing to just kind of balance out here. This is a pretty comfortable price point for these crude prices. Any sort of rallies from here will be sold into. Not really expecting much upside, but if we do get a little bit of an oversold bounce here, look for those sellers to step back in here in the mid to high $70 range. Not really expecting much upside here. We should just see this crude market continue to slowly bleed down here through the $60 range. And last but not least, we got our equity indexes on the board. We did see this market find a little bit of support early. The S&P getting a little bit of a bounce here early on Monday before just kind of settling into a range here between about 75 and 7,600 throughout the late part of the week. Not a very exciting finish before going into the holiday weekend. Nothing super crazy here. We continue to see the Nasdaq lose some ground late last week. The Dow just pushing up into some new all-time highs already here in the evening after last week's strong finish above 53. At the moment, we continue to see some good relative strength in this Dow index compared to the tech sector, where we are seeing this market kind of entering a range-bound period here after that big markup here throughout April and May. This market is consolidating. The S&P and the Nasdaq just kind of balancing out here in a nice wide range. We should see these prices stick around, just keep hanging out here near these all-time highs. We need to see these mega cap names kind of find their footing. We need to see a lot of these guys get some traction back above those averages. We do have some potential to do that here in the week ahead if we can see these mega cap names get right rolling back above those major averages. We should see the S&P and the Nasdaq start pushing up into those all-time highs and keep on heading up higher here and keep this uptrend rolling. So good consolidation here in the last couple weeks, last month or so. Look for these equity indexes to stay supported up here near these all-time highs. Still a really good environment to stay invested. Lots of good places still be putting your money to work at the moment. Just waiting for these mega cap names to balance out, find a little bit better structure, and we should see this market take back off to the upside. Everything's looking good and strong here. This environment remains very healthy. We should see higher equity prices here throughout the rest of the summer. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in here this week. We will catch you guys tomorrow for closing comments. Thank you and have a good evening.